Bikini Bottom, home of SpongeBob SquarePants, Patrick Star, and many other wonderful characters. In 2020, we are battling for Bikini Bottom with SpongeBob Rehydrated. Hey everybody, I can't keep doing this voice right now. I was trying to do the announcer voice, but I'm just not even gonna keep trying. Hey everybody, Juan here, welcome back. For this video, we're going to be talking about SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Quite the long title. This game's out now for the PS4, Nintendo Switch, PC. I got a review copy for the Xbox One version, and I was very excited because I didn't play this game back in the day. Even though I was a really big fan of SpongeBob, as a matter of fact, I actually saw the pilot for SpongeBob SquarePants way back in 1999 during a midnight airing. Eventually, many games started coming out about SpongeBob SquarePants because everybody loved the damn sponge. I love the damn sponge. Not so much after a couple of different seasons, but those first few ones I loved. And I heard a lot of people say great things about Battle for Bikini Bottom many years after the game came out because I didn't play this game growing up. I thought that if a game is based on a television show, that's just a fancy way of saying this has got to be a bad game. But the fact that a licensed game from that generation, 2 generations ago, was actually remastered, remade, whatever you want to say it, in 2020 to me is quite fascinating. So we are going to be talking about SpongeBob Rehydrated and this questionable shirt right here. So if you like what I do, please subscribe, click on that bell, go down to the comment section and let me know whether you played Rehydrated or you played Battle for Bikini Bottom way back in the day. What do you think about that game? And I just got to say, do not think I bought this shirt for this video. I've had this shirt in my closet for like a good 8 years. It was on sale one time for $3. I bought it and I didn't know what to do with it until now. Having not played the game when it first came out in 2003 meant that I was able to experience it without this overwhelming sense of nostalgia. Sure, I love SpongeBob, I love Bikini Bottom, but if it was a bad game, I just wasn't gonna like it. Would I call it an amazing game? No. Would I say it's great? Maybe. Would I say it's a very good, very solid game? Absolutely. Whether we played the game when it first came out or not, we can't deny that it's going to have the good things about the games from the early 2000s, as well as some of the bad ones. If I was to summarize my opinions about the game, I would say it is a stunningly beautiful collectathon. If you play games like Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario 64, those games from the N64 throughout the PS2 and GameCube generation, I think you're going to have a really good time with this. And if you still love or used to love the SpongeBob TV show, I think that tied in with pretty basic but solid gameplay is going to lend itself to a positive experience. But I'm just going to say it, if you do not like to collect things in video games, then maybe this is not going to be up your alley. The story in the game is very similar to what we're used to seeing on the television show. We have Plankton, the owner of the Chum Bucket, arguably one of the worst places in all of Bikini Bottom to eat some food. And he is obsessed with stealing that Krabby Patty formula from Mr. Krabs because when you think about eating underwater, you gotta talk about burgers. After failing for so many different times, he realizes that maybe his only chance to be able to do so is to build a robot army, but then SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy are here to put a stop to that plan, except the times where Plankton actually manipulates SpongeBob to doing some work for him. Throughout the game, you'll be collecting multiple objects, but the main ones are the golden spatulas. They are the equivalent of stars or other objects in other games where you need a fixed amount in order to gain access to a new area. But you also get to collect socks, artwork, other stuff, including underwear. What I love about this game is that the actual health in the game is the underwear. So whether you're playing as SpongeBob, Patrick, or Sandy, I love that they're all wearing SpongeBob's underwear, and even some of the characters are like, hey, this is a little awkward. This game reminded me a lot of The Simpsons Hit and Run. Whenever you talk about these licensed games, people are just like, come on, can somebody remaster it? Because much like that one, here we get to visit many of our favorite locations of Bikini Bottom, and that's where we collect the spatulas and everything else. Now getting to the specific things I enjoyed about the game, let's talk about the characters. You can play SpongeBob, Sandy, or Patrick. Initially, I thought you could alternate whenever you wanted, but depending on the stage, you usually get a combination of 2 characters, that being SpongeBob and Patrick or SpongeBob and Sandy. Talking first about SpongeBob, he's not my favorite character to play as, but he's really fun. With the main attack, he actually uses the jellyfish fishing net. He's also got a nice upward motion attack, and that one is really good for enemies that are higher up. And the one that I didn't use too much unless it was absolutely necessary was this bowling attack that you could actually hold it on there and it would do better, but eh. And if you love Mario games, he also does this. I would say Patrick was my least favorite character to play as, but he does the wombo thrust, so I cannot hate Patrick because he sets it to wombo, right? If you know about the show and you know about the way of the wombo, wombo wing, the study of wombo, the art of wombo, you can't hate on Patrick. Now with Sandy, she is simply on another level. She's always been one of my favorite characters on the TV show, and I love that playing as her in this game, it felt truly authentic. She's got the vicious karate chops, but the best thing has got to be the lasso. Not only can you actually attack the enemies with it, especially if you want to keep a distance because some of the enemies maybe blow up, when you do the double jump, if you hold, you can actually maneuver yourself around. And this took me back to Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, not Diddy Kong's Quest, because people always get that mixed up. Something that I'm really picky about in platformers is whenever you jump, if they feel too floaty, that is a big turnoff. That's why a game like Little Big Planet, I love everything about it except when you actually have to jump. But here, even though we're underwater, even though they should be floaty and it would make sense, I feel like the jumping distance and the time in the air is just right. Another thing I love is just how ridiculous it is. The fact that you're playing in Bikini Bottom, it's a kid-friendly, kid-oriented game, but then you have Patrick walking around spikes, the characters are fighting everybody, so it's this balance of, yeah, it's a kid's game, but you have to attack something. And when you talk about a game based on a movie or a television show, if the voiceover is not even remotely close to the actual show, it's not worth doing. Because historically, we have had games with the actual original actors of a movie or TV show, but then the enthusiasm is not quite there. But here, it really felt like they were just part of the show. Now that being said, some of the characters are not voiced by the original voice actors, and that is unfortunate, but I believe some of them passed away. Others, they maybe just didn't want to be part of the project. The one that bothered me was Mr. Krabs because I feel like the person was trying to do the accent for Mr. Krabs, but it sounded like a cheap knockoff and it really took me out of the experience.
Your treasure chest's looking a bit light, boy.
If you haven't watched the TV show, then maybe that's not going to be a big deal, but for somebody that really loves that, that is going to be a bit painful. And this next topic is both a good and a bad thing depending how you look at it. This game completely embraces what it is, which is a collectathon. So if you love all of that, you're going to get it. They do not hide that to the point that most of the characters do not shy away from, hey, can you beat down these enemies? I'll give you a golden spatula. Can you align these things in a very specific way? If you do that, I will give you a golden spatula. If you subscribe to this YouTube channel, I won't give you a golden spatula because that's very expensive, but I'll give you a thumbs up. Now regarding my not so positive responses about the game, the first one is, it is repetitive. You are going to be collecting a lot, and if you're not careful, you can feel that fatigue. Even though I did enjoy my time playing this game, I had to take a lot of breaks because I get it, I need 20 golden spatulas so I can get to this new area. Afterwards, I'll need 25, 30, 35, so on and so forth. And knowing that that was pretty much the gameplay loop, it can feel very dull and boring, and even though sometimes you get a boss fight, you get other parts of the game where you're even sliding down and it almost feels like a race, there is a lot to this game, but because it all goes back to the collectathon element, I have kind of gotten used to games hiding that a little bit because I think this is normal. Even with games like Assassin's Creed, a bunch of games, you have to get a specific item, then you got to bring it back. It's not too different, but with this one, the fact that they don't even attempt to hide it, it's kind of like, can you at least attempt to do that a little bit? But let's not forget, this game did come out in 2003. And the other thing I didn't like so much is that because it's all about collecting the items, you can sort of feel directionless at times. I had a few situations where I didn't have enough golden spatulas to continue progressing. I went to the map and saw that, yeah, I was missing a couple of them, but then having to go back to the stage, figure out where that was, maybe it was a very dumb thing that I overlooked, but it began to feel like a chore, and during that time, it just didn't feel all that fun. I almost forgot, another thing I disliked is that they actually added an online component for like a horde mode or something like that, but every single time that I tried to go online, I would either get an error or there was not a room, so I didn't even want to talk about that because I wanted to make sure the focus on this video was on the main game that everybody's hoping to play. Which leads to the final question. Should you buy SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated? If you want a nostalgic experience, whether it be because of SpongeBob, the early 2000s, maybe you played the game back in the day, or you love collectathons from that generation, then awesome, go ahead and play the game. I think that even if you're not a big SpongeBob fan, there is so much charm, so much love and care put into this game, but if you're not nostalgic about that time, that period, that generation, or even the character, then I would say go ahead and skip the game. So those have been my thoughts about SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I love the fact that they actually are remastered or rehydrated this game because it opens up Pandora's box of possibilities of other licensed games from that PS2 GameCube generation that maybe a lot of people like myself never played because they have that stigma of that video game based on a movie or television show. So my open question to everybody, aside from your overall experience with Battle for Bikini Bottom, is there any other game based on a movie or television show that is worth bringing over in 2020? One game that comes to mind that many of you have told me previously is the Scarface game on the PS2. I think it's called Scarface The World Is Yours or something like that. I never played that game because, much like this, I just thought that it wasn't going to be great. I love that we have SpongeBob and Scarface. I think if we sat down here long enough, we could talk about how these two characters are very, very similar. But yeah, let me know about other licensed games that do deserve to be brought to modern times. And if you like what I do, please consider subscribing, clicking on that bell. Do not forget that I have a Let's Play channel with a Let's Play session of SpongeBob Rehydrated right here on YouTube. It's going to be somewhere around here. And you can also follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/MrPlayerJuan. So up until next time, thank you for watching, supporting, and appreciating the shirt, and take care, everybody.